Hey you guys. Um I have two dreams that I want to share with you guys. It is a dream that I had. The first dream I'm going to share, I had this dream October 25th. And the reason why I waited to share this was because honestly, I really didn't think I should, but I really feel that I need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this dream. I actually pre-recorded it, so here it is.
On October 25th, Friday, 2013, I had laid down a little after 10 o'clock that morning, or this morning, to take a nap. And I had a dream where I remember seeing my neighborhood, at least it seemed to be my neighborhood, completely was blacked out. Like there were no lights anywhere. And I remember seeing a house across from mine who had red fog lights outside of their house. And the next thing I remember is I was in the house, and I think I was looking out of the window, trying to see what was going on. But for some reason, I'm not able to remember a portion of this dream. But the next thing I remember is being outside, and I could hear people, like commotions going on, people, trying to figure out what's going on. And I remember I was trying to tell people what was going on, but they were talking so loud that they couldn't hear me, and it seemed like I was screaming off the top of my lungs what I knew. I was trying to tell them that this was all the government's doing, that this was planned. And finally it got to the point where people, the commotion that was going on, it got to a point where they kind of quieted down, and they were able to actually hear what I had to say. And I remember seeing these people standing outside, and I remember seeing this young boy, and I was saying this was the government's doing. They did this. They've been planning this. You've been watching it in your movies. They've been showing you in your face what they are going to do, what they were planning on doing. This is a result of what the government has planned for America. They are responsible for doing this. And I remember people were looking at me almost in a way like, how do you know all of this? How do you know this? And I remember something about Comet Ison came about, and I remember saying that I wanted to go. I wanted to go. And I remember saying to these people, I said, you guys don't understand how serious this is. This is life and death. What you are seeing at this very moment is the government is wanting to eliminate all humanity off the face of the earth. And I remember the looks on people's faces like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Is this really happening? And I ended up on this spaceship. Like I was supposed to launch in space with this crew. And I'm in this ship, and we were about to take off. And I remember seeing this computer monitor screen of the solar system, and not the solar system, it was a picture of outer space, and they had it marked where Comet Ison was located. And I remember telling them, you guys need to take a look at this. And for some reason in this particular part of the dream, I looked really young. And I think the reason why I was shown to be very young is because of the knowledge that I had compared to these people's knowledge. And what I mean is, these people were trained and they have had years of experience in, work experience in this whole field of being in the space field, and here it is. I didn't have the same knowledge they had, but what I did have was a very valuable piece of the puzzle that they didn't know, they didn't have. And so the information that I was contributing to them, even though it didn't compare to the years of knowledge and experience and training they have, the piece of the puzzle that I had was extremely important, and they needed it. And so that's why I think it showed me as being young, because of that. But I started telling them about the information that I knew about this particular comet. And I remember telling them, I've been studying this for weeks. I know what's going on. I've been studying this. And I remember I started telling them different things, and they were looking at me like, wow, are you serious? And I was giving them a breakdown of the pictures that has been shown to the public, or has been given to the public, and I was showing them what was really inside that particular picture, that it was somewhat of a cover-up. And there's actually a video that breaks this down, so it was like I was remembering the information that I had saw on this particular video that I was sharing with them in this dream. Well, anyway, as the dream progressed, it was literally like it felt real. I was in a spaceship, and I remember we was taking off, and you could feel yourself being lifted up into the air. Like, it felt like you was being pulled in this way that didn't seem natural. That's how I knew this felt so real. Well, anyway, we end up I remember seeing out of the window, because where I was sitting, I could see everything up close, and I could see the blackness of this space. And there were certain parts of this journey of us being in this spacecraft where I did not look. I would keep my eyes closed at some points because a part of me was afraid. And when I opened my eyes again, I remember we had entered into this place. For a split second, I thought we were in Earth, because that's how real the scenery looked, but it was actually another planet. It was another planet. And as we were traveling through this planet, I just had the most eerie feeling. Like, it just seemed so unreal. But then it ended up where it kind of seemed like the spacecraft we were in turned into like a submarine, and we were traveling in this deep part of the ocean. And I'm looking, and I'm seeing all these vibrant colors of different, I don't know what it was. They wasn't fish. It was some kind of sea creatures, but they had human faces, but they were like little mini tiny creatures. And I was seeing this, and I remember the thought that was going through my head while I'm looking at this is, oh my gosh, this stuff is really real. That these things actually exist. And I was thinking to myself, they have known all this time that these things actually exist, and we didn't know. And I remember somewhere, as we were still in this deep part of the ocean, I saw this huge giant. It was a man, and it kind of reminded me of Hercules, but it was like he was a of a giant stature. Like, he was extremely tall. And I remember he came up out of this, it looked like a cave, like an underground cave. And I guess he could hear that we was in this particular area, and he came out. And when he stood up, it was so unreal. I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be happening. And I remember he became very angry, and it was like the submarine that we were in, it was backing up to get out of where we were. And for some reason, too, this particular scenery, it kind of portrayed itself like a cartoon. And part of the reason why I think it did that was to make it less intimidating because of what I was being shown. And I think by it being in a cartoon form, that maybe it was easier for me to take in what I was seeing. But yeah, that's what I saw. So it went from that point to where we were still underwater, but it was like we was in this, it looked like it was like an underwater city type place, because we ended up maneuvering the submarine, or whatever this ship thing we was in. We were still in the water, but it maneuvered itself into this building. So we're driving in this building. It kind of looked like a hotel / restaurant, and I could see people. Some people noticed us, but they just kind of stood there and just watched. Some people noticed us, but they looked, and then they just continued doing what they was doing. And some people didn't even recognize us. They was just carrying on with what they were doing. But these people were talking among themselves. They were sitting. And the interesting thing was, these people look like humans. They look like human beings, but the only difference is on some of these people's faces, it was like they had two noses. And their nose didn't look like a human nose. It was like long and slender. I would say maybe about 2 inches, 2.5 inches long, maybe 3 at the most. And there was a small gap in between, and then there was another nose of the same size. It was the exact same, but they had two. But other than that, their features looked almost similar to the features of us. And interestingly, I remember this one female being, whatever it was, for some reason, when I was looking at her face, she reminded me, and Joanna, she's a very pretty girl. So this being that I saw reminded me of Joanna. And I don't know if it was to let me see that these beings can also be beautiful, but at the same time, they were different than us. And the difference that the only thing I could really notice off the bat was the fact that some of these beings, for some reason, it didn't let me focus on every face. I remember seeing a couple of people, maybe 2 or 3, maybe a little more, but I was seeing a bunch of people sitting around. They were eating. They were talking among themselves, but it was just a certain few that I noticed that they had 2 noses, and their noses looked very different than ours. And I remember we were still going through this building, and it seemed like at some point we were kind of being chased out, like we really had to hurry up and get out. And the door to this particular ship, like, it kept opening up, and it was making me afraid, because I was thinking to myself, if this door don't stop opening up, then it's going to make it easy for them to get us. So I remember shutting the door, and I didn't know anything about this vehicle that we were in, but it would seem like I automatically knew how to lock it, where to, snap this, click that. And it was like the guy that was sitting behind me. It was a black guy. He was looking at me in amazement because I knew he was thinking to himself, how did she know to do all of that? For the most part, that's all I can remember.
Okay, so that was the dream that I had, like I said, on October 25th. That dream to me was very, very strange. And that's why I really didn't want to share it, because it seemed like completely out there, like seriously. But the reason why I decided to go ahead and share it is because I do feel that I've been receiving some revelation on this dream. I do believe that there was something very specific about why God gave me this dream. And, for it to start out where there was a blackout, I mean, to me, that kind of really hit close to home, because we know that there is a planned drill. I think it's called Drill X. I'll put that up, the correct information up if I'm wrong. But we know there's supposed to be a planned drill that's coming up. I believe it's supposed to be from November 13th to November the 20th. So it's supposed to be for 7 days. And I don't know if you guys checked out, I think it was called American Blackout. It came on the History Channel a few days ago. I watched it. I had my two sons watch it with me. And we should know by now that the things that they put out on TV is not by coincidence. They're putting it in your face. Like what I said in the dream, they're putting this in your face. They're showing you what their plans are. As far as the other planet, me traveling to another planet, I've been hearing so much about Comet Ison. Comet Ison is not really a comet. Some people are saying that Comet Ison is actually planet Nibiru. I'm not 100% on this. I have been doing some research on it. I don't know. I've also heard about how Comet Ison is actually going to usher in the rapture. And interestingly, there is a girl, maybe I should say a lady, I don't want to be disrespectful, but there was a lady who had commented on one of my videos, and she was sharing with me about how God has been giving her dreams. I checked her channel out. I did subscribe, and it truly blessed me. I'm gonna put her name up because I don't know it right now, but you would definitely want to check this video out. I'm gonna put that video, the name of the video as well. But she was basically sharing about, I think her daughter is 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and her daughter on 2 different occasions, from what she shared, came to her and basically said that Jesus was coming back before Christmas. Now this is a 5-year-old little girl, and this woman said out of the blue her daughter just came to her. She has not been talking to her daughter about the rapture, about anything like that, and her daughter comes to her and says Jesus is coming back before Christmas. And I think on another occasion, which was so cute to me, she said that, I think she said her daughter was wanting some kind of toy or something for Christmas, and she was basically telling her daughter, you have to wait until Christmas. And the little girl basically got frustrated and said, we're not going to be here for Christmas. So I was like blown away by that. Well, in this particular dream, I think she's sharing about a dream that God gave her about her seeing 3 moons. And like I said, I don't want to tell it because I don't want to mess her dream up, but I'm going to definitely put the title of the dream up so you can check it out for yourself. But that's what got me really thinking about the dream that God gave me, because sometimes, and I'm telling you, you guys, I'm really trying to get better at this. I need to stop second guessing myself. God has given me these dreams for a reason. We may not understand what it means, but God does. And I'm just going to try to be more well, I am. I'm not going to say try. I'm going to be more obedient in posting my dreams. If I truly believe in my heart that God is leading me to post it, I'm not going to second guess it anymore. But I'm going to share a second dream with you guys, and I pre-recorded that as well. I apologize. I said that this dream was recorded, but it's actually not. I wrote it down. Well, this dream I had on October the 14th. And there was a lot going on with this dream, but I'm going to tell you the meat of it. Basically, I was riding in a car with my cousin and my cousin's childhood friend. I knew her because she would always be around the house when we were younger. I was in the back seat. My cousin was driving and her friend was in the passenger seat up front. And for some reason, my cousin was just driving recklessly. Like, she was not paying attention to the road. She was just all over the place, just driving fast. Like, she wasn't swerving, but it was like when she was talking to me or she would talk to her friend, it's like she would not be looking at the road. She would be looking directly at us. And I remember I got to a point where I'm like getting really frustrated, and I'm telling her, you need to pay attention to the road. Stop looking, at us. Stay, focus on the road. And it was nighttime. And the interesting thing was, before it got to this point, let me just back up just a little bit. I was supposed to have been taking my grandmother to the store. My grandmother has passed. She's been passed for, I'll say, about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. But I was supposed to have been taking her to the store. And then it went from it being my grandmother to being my aunt. And the cousin that was driving this car, it's her mother. So I was supposed to have been taking her to the store, but it ended up where I'm in the back seat and my cousin is driving, but my aunt is not even in the car. We're actually following her in another car. I didn't know who was driving at this point. I just knew we was following them to the store. So after, I'm getting on to my cousin about, not paying attention to the road, I happened to look up in the sky. And you guys, I started seeing these pictures of people. It almost looked like they were like black and white portraits of people. And they were just positioned in the sky. And it's like I would see one and then another one appear and then another one appear. And I started almost freaking out, like, what in the world is this? What is going on? And it just seemed like it kept doing that for a while. Everywhere I would look, I would see another picture appear. Now, what I picked up from it, it almost seemed like the people that I was seeing, it wasn't from our generation. They looked like, there's one picture that kind of, it's still really vivid in my mind. And it looked like a portrait that may have been taken like in the 1800s. I could be completely off base, but it was not anywhere near our generation. I know that much. And I just kept seeing these different pictures popping up of people. Like, they were people. Like, it looked like a black and white portrait of just men and women just popping up in the sky. And I remember my cousin who was driving, I noticed periodically she would look up too. And I was asking her, I said, do you see these people in the sky?" And she was like, "Yep, I see them." But she was so nonchalant about it, like, "Yeah, okay, what's the big deal? I see it." And so after a while, I realized that we hadn't made it to the store yet. So I'm like, "Where are we going? I thought we was taking her to the store." And she was like, "No, we're going to the Father's house." Yeah, we're going to the Father's house. And it when she said that, it was supposed to have been a church. That's what it was a church. And I remember thinking to myself, why are we going to a church when I thought she wanted me to take her to the store? So after a while of me getting tired of her driving the way she was, I remember telling her, "Look, I have a husband and I have children waiting for me at home. I would like to see them." So I made her stop the car, and she got out of the car. I got in the driver's seat and I started driving. Now, as I'm following this road, it was a narrow road. We finally end up at this place called the Father's house, and there were people standing at this gate. And I remember they opened the gate to let us drive through. And I finally saw who was driving my aunt. And it was my other aunt who had passed away a couple of years ago from cancer. She was driving the car. My aunt was in the car that I was supposed to have been taken to the store, and another one of my aunties was in the car. And that's pretty much the gist of that dream. I find it very amazing because there's so many key symbols in this dream. I mean, one being, I'm on this narrow road. Then, I'm going to the Father's house. And then I'm seeing pictures of people in the sky. And immediately what came to mind was Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. And it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doeth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." I believe that dream was an encouraging dream, because I just got so much encouragement when God led me to that scripture. And even though the dream was showing a portion of my cousin, I really believe that part of it was God was basically letting me know I need to really pray for her. Because sometimes usually when you're dreaming of being in some type of mode of transportation, it represents a journey. And because I'm connected to her, it only makes sense why I would be in the car. And so for me to take over, I think God was really saying that I really need to go in prayer for her. But you guys, seriously, we're going to the Father's house. And I see a cloud of witnesses, of people positioned. I mean, this was going on for a while. Like, everywhere I looked in the sky, I was seeing people, just pictures of people. It looked like a self-portrait of all of these people that was just positioned in the sky. Black and white self-portraits. Yeah. So I really believe that God is encouraging us to finish running the race. God is rooting us on because he knows that we're almost at the finish line. And he's letting us know that Jesus is so close. You guys, he's close. I remember sharing with you in a couple of videos about how I've been feeling like kicks almost to the point where I've literally thought I was pregnant. You guys have no idea how many times, over the years I would I would get second opinions, like, okay, is something going on that, I'm not knowing, because this is feeling really real to me. But when I was really thinking about this today, and I was like, when did this start? When did I start realizing these feelings I was having, these little kicks I've been feeling? And it started back in 2009. But the trick part is, when it started, it would happen like over a period of time. Like, it was very gradual. Like, it wasn't a consistent thing, but I would experience it. But you guys, I am not lying to you. I will never lie to you guys. But this year, since 2013, they've been stronger, and they've been coming more frequently. And I was really meditating on that, like, okay, God, what is this? Because, being in, when I was in church, people, I had talked to a couple of people about it, and, they were saying stuff like, you about to birth something. You about to birth, something into existence. It's about to manifest. And, that's all cool. But I've always felt like it was something deeper than that. And God led me to the scripture. I'm going to put it up because I can't recall exactly where it's at. But it's that scripture where it talks about how when Mary was carrying Jesus in her stomach, and I believe it was Elizabeth, she also was pregnant too. And when they met up for the first time since they were both pregnant, both of their the babies in their bellies leaped, and they bore witness with one another. Isn't that beautiful? The Holy Spirit within the womb bore witness to another spirit and somebody else. Like, they bore witness just by their mothers who were carrying them in their stomach coming in close contact. And God showed me, well, he told me, I should say, that what I've been experiencing is my spirit is bearing witness to the times that we're in and how close. Oh my gosh, like, this is really just coming so clear now. My spirit is bearing witness to the spirit of Jesus. Just Jesus being so close to coming back, my spirit is bearing witness to it. My spirit is leaping. Because, you guys, that's why we should pay more attention to the spirit. The Bible says we are to be led by the spirit. The spirit knows and sees and understands, whereas our flesh doesn't. So we have to rely on the spirit. So I just thought I would share that with you guys. I did a little bit of I don't know, I could be so off base, you guys, and if y'all have any information, please, I'm telling you, I welcome that. It helps me out. But I was looking at that, as far as the first dream, the giant that I saw coming out of the cave under the sea, and the thing that came to mind was, wasn't there a god of the sea, and his name was Poseidon? I think that's how you pronounce it. And I was doing a little, I didn't do an extensive, sorry, I had a hard time saying that word. I didn't do a lot of study on him, or this particular god of Poseidon, the god of the sea. But I had came across this, it was a website, and they said that Poseidon is also referred to as Dagon, who's mentioned in the Bible. Dagon, D-A-G-O-N. So I don't know. Like I thought that was so out there, but I mean, in that dream, it felt so real, you guys. And I knew, like when I was in that submarine with these people, that I knew they worked for NASA. Like they were a part of the crew, and they were just so nonchalant. Like all this stuff that I was seeing, and I was freaking out on the inside. Like they were so cool as a cucumber. So I knew immediately they've seen this stuff before. Like this was not a surprise. They knew where to go. They knew the places to check out. It had to feel like they were doing research on these places and on these individuals. Like on these beings. I don't even want to say people. They were they were something. They wasn't human. But they knew. Like they knew exactly what was going on. And I was just a newbie in the ship, a part of the crew, and I had no idea what I was about to get myself into, but they knew exactly what they was doing. But all I can say, you guys, is it felt so real. What I was seeing with my own eyes, it looked so real. And those little miniature people thing that was floating in the sea, I do not know what them things were. They were small, but it kind of gave me the creeps when I looked at them because they had almost like human faces. And I was trying to figure out what they could have been. I don't know, dwarfs, or I don't know. Maybe you guys have some kind of insight. Hopefully God will give, I don't know. Somebody may have some kind of info, but please let me know. And before I end this video, I have a question for you guys. And this is more so a question to my subscribers and those who are just checking this video out. If you have not subscribed and you're checking this video out, you can subscribe at Kingdom Living 771. Love to have you as part of the channel. But my question is, you know, for those who have children, how are you informing your children about what is going on? Because I've been very, very, very sensitive with this with my children. I don't want them to be ignorant and caught off guard, but at the same time, I don't want to give them too much to where they are scared out of their minds. Because I have a 15-year-old and I have a 10-year-old. So there's certain ways I can talk to my 15-year-old that then, you know, as far as my 10-year-old, like I know how I have to communicate some things between them two, but I also know that, you know, it is extremely important for us to be prepared, and we have to prepare our children. But at the same time, I guess my question is, how are you guys preparing your children? How far, as far as the information that you are learning, that, you know, how far are you going with what you're sharing with your children? And how old are they too? So that will kind of give me an idea. Well, I'm sorry this video was long, but I had a lot to say, and I put 2 dreams in this one to kind of eliminate me making too many videos. But yeah, any feedback is welcomed. I'm blown away, you guys, of just how much is unfolding. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, I can say so much more, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this, or it'll be another 30 minutes. But I love you guys. Stay in faith, and just be encouraged. Be encouraged. God is rooting us on. He's letting us know you're almost at the finish line. Just keep going. Just keep going. You're almost there. You're almost there. Love you. God bless.